Oh, hey, what's up, guys? I'm kidding. Look, this is money from something I sold on Craigslist or whatever it was. So ignore that. As a designer, you're definitely probably not going to be rich. I'm not trying to discourage you, by the way. If you clicked on this, you probably want to know what I make as a designer, right? And I hate to say it, but I'm not rich. This is, like I said, money that I got from selling a couch that I had. But the reality of being a freelance designer is actually quite different. Obviously, it's going to change from person to person. Somebody might be pretty wealthy, somebody might be broke as a designer. It really depends on the person and their hustle. If you're trying to be a designer full time and you just have a passion for art, money shouldn't really matter at that point, I think, right? Art should be more important at the end of the day, and if it isn't more important to you, you might not be the best designer anyway. So really, I think the art is more important than the money, and I'm just gonna say that right away. I'm sorry if that's disappointing, because you probably clicked on this because you're like, damn, I want to see what Charlie makes. But honestly, I don't really care if I'm not rich though, because art is more important than the money. At the end of the day, I love art. That's what I love, right? That's why I'm a designer, because I love creating things every single day. So the money kind of just follows. And I think that's important, because when you start thinking about the money first, you end up really sucking at art because all you're thinking about is money. So really start focusing on the art, and money will follow. And whether you're rich or not from it, I can't tell you if you will be or not, but I will tell you this, that money will come and you will make plenty of it to survive, and you will be happy with the money you're making. Being a designer has changed my life. I'm just gonna go out there right away and say that. It's changed my life. When I started YouTube, I started as a designer. I started making tutorials for you guys, and you guys really responded to it. And because of that, I was able to grow on YouTube to over 60,000 subs now. So I credit design to that. Design has literally changed my life, and I respect the shit out of it as not only a craft, but also just something that is there for me when nobody else is, if that makes sense. Not only has it changed my life on YouTube, but it also has given me opportunities that I would have never thought I would ever get in life, like designing for my favorite metal bands or getting sponsorships on YouTube that I never thought I would even be close to being able to achieve. The most important thing that I don't want to forget is it allowed me to be a self-employed person without having to go work for some asshole at some big corporation or whatever, or working at McDonald's or something. So it really has just given me a life, and that is something that is just priceless, right? I'm not saying it's easy being a designer though, so I'm gonna go into the bad stuff now, because it's definitely not easy being a designer. There are so many negatives to being a designer. Like, the first thing that comes to mind is not knowing if you could pay rent next month because you're not getting a lot of design jobs. Maybe it's a slower month. That's something that's typical with being a freelance creative person in general, not just being a designer, but being a freelance creative person. Maybe next month you'll have a good month, but the month after that you'll have a terrible month and you can barely pay rent or your car payment or pay for food. So it's one of those things where it can get really scary being a designer, and that's something I absolutely don't like about it. I just don't like how unpredictable the income can be with being a designer. So that's something that you kind of have to accept. So for me, I really try to flood out the negative thoughts, because nobody ever benefited from being negative. I'm just gonna say that right now. Nobody ever benefited from being negative, and you will certainly not benefit from being negative as a designer. So I've learned to really think positive and look at tomorrow like an opportunity to really succeed as a designer, and work harder than I did yesterday. That's kind of how I've been looking at it, and it seems to be working for me. You guys might have a different way of looking at it though. I don't know. So I definitely went through my struggles as a designer. I've went through months where I just quit completely and didn't even design for a month. I've went through months where I was just really hard on myself and I told myself I suck. I've quit altogether and didn't design for months and months. I mean, I went through all these different stages of just being, happy about it, and then just so sad about being a designer. So there's so many different emotions. Besides the financial stability of being a designer though, you have to deal with some bad clients too. You're gonna have clients that take advantage of you. You're gonna have clients that say mean things to you. You're gonna have to deal with people not liking your work all the time. I've learned to take criticism as a positive, because I used to really take it to heart when somebody told me my work sucked, but then I found out that it doesn't really matter what that person thinks, because at the end of the day, as long as I'm happy with it, that's what matters. Honestly, that's what matters, because if you keep doing things that you love, people will follow. You're gonna have an audience out there. It's like a market, right? When you market a pair of shoes, maybe not everybody's gonna like it, but there's gonna be a good amount of people that probably will like it. So that's kind of how it is with art. That's the way I look at it. So if I keep creating designs that I like, there will be people out there that like it. Like, for instance, when I do a lot of black and white work, people hate on that. They're like, why don't you do color? But there are people out there that love my black and white work. So I do what I love, and people follow, if that makes sense. So all the negatives that I ever dealt with design honestly got flooded out by all the positives, because there's definitely more positives. Yeah, I'm not rich or anything like that, but I'm happy that I'm a designer, and I think that's the most important thing to take away from it. So if you guys want to ask me any additional questions that I didn't touch base on, ask me below and I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys know what to do. If you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up button or not. Subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.